and a very warm welcome to It Is What It Is with Wamoyo Favor the Captain. First things first, kama kawaida, I want to thank you so much for your love, the likes, the shares, the views, and the subscriptions. May the Lord do you well. You can follow us on Facebook at Kingly Favor Studio Reloaded, Instagram at Kingly Favor Studio Reloaded, TikTok at Kingly Favor Studio Reloaded, and most definitely on YouTube at Kingly Favor Studio. Asanteni sana, keep the comments coming. We are still dissecting the Asian dragon, which is sexual immorality, sexual sin, or illicit sex. And so far we have found 3 ways in which the Asian dragon sexual immorality lures its victims into its mouth. The first one we looked at was sight, that is lust driven. The second one was inordinate affection. And the third one was seduction and sympathy. For those who don't understand where we are coming from, I just want to clarify that the year started on a fiery note. That is, we decided we are going to have a blazing 2024. We said in 2024, we are keeping the fire burning. And we looked at things that can quench our spiritual fire. And one of the things that can quench our spiritual fire, we said, is sin. And we proceeded to say that sin is relative. So the Holy Spirit of God stirred my spirit to be specific of a particular sin that can not only quench your fire, but completely destroy you and your spirit completely. So we went ahead to expose the ancient dragon, which is sexual immorality, sexual sin, or illicit sex. And this is one of the ways in which the devil uses to completely kill our fire, to completely kill our zeal for God. This is one of the sins that completely destroys us. Because like we said when we were starting, this is the sin that happens within our bodies. Every other sin happens outside, but this particular sin is actually sinning against our bodies. Last week, we looked at the third way in which sexual immorality captures its victims into its mouth. Apparently, this is also a topic that it's also a way that triggered a lot of reactions. And so today, we are not going to look at the fourth way in which the Asian dragon captures its victims. We are going to look at the comments that were triggered from last week's show. That is the third way. That is seduction and sympathy. It got a lot of people asking, or rather sharing their sentiments in as far as seduction and sympathy is concerned in our modern churches. And so today I'm going to share the sentiments of other people in as far as the church members are concerned and in as far as the men of God are concerned. So today the sword is cutting across both ways. And remember, these are reactions, comments, and feelings from people who followed last week's show of seduction and sympathy as a way in which the Asian dragon captures its victims into its mouth. And so most of the people are saying that we need to relate seduction and sympathy in terms of the modern churches because it happens a lot. And they cited examples that, according to them, they would love to see changes in the body of Christ. And it being said and done, I'm going to read them as they are. And so we are going to start with the church members. One of the concerns that was raised is Mama Kanisa. There are some certain Mama Kanisas, and I think the messages, the comments and all that are anonymous, but some will definitely come out to show you if it's the men who are complaining or if it's the ladies. Like for this one, it must be a man, because they are saying, kuna Mama Kanisa wengine, they leave their husbands at home very early in the morning. They have not prepared breakfast for them. Hawajaandaa watoto, hawajafanya anything. So they wake up very early to go and serve their pastor. They were saying this is so wrong because church starts at home. You have to leave your house in order first before you go to attend to your pastor. And I think this one applies to, I think, churches that are yet to have departments that are organized, because it's not every church that mama kanisa wanape mchungaji ama their bishop ama whoever leads them in the church, whatever their title is, kuwape chai. So I think this applies to churches that are yet to establish systems. But the bottom line is, kama wewe uko pale na ni mama kanisa, unachanga ujepea your husband chai, hujemwandalia mavazi yake, ujepatia watoto wako chai, hujewaandalia mavazi, ujewaacha in good order, but you want to rush out in a hurry to go and serve your pastor breakfast. Na ukimserve breakfast, hata uondoki hapo, you are there kumuliza, what else can I do for you? What else do you want? Na kwako umeacha kukichomeka. Walikuwa nasema that is so wrong. They need that one to change. So kama uko pale na wewe ni mama kanisa and you fall in this category, tafadhali wanasema they need to see change. Leave your house in order as you go to serve God. Cause yenyewe service yenye si orderly inaportray kitu si poa. So we need to portray a good image in as far as our churches are concerned, and also in as far as our homes are concerned. Because one thing, if we don't have strong homes, we can't have strong churches. Because family comes first and then church. If we have strong families, we have strong churches. If we do things well at our homes, it will definitely follow us in our churches. So let us not miss priority. The second one, ladies sitting at the front row with short dresses. This is what they were saying. Washirika, mkienda kanisa, mkubali kuhudumiwa. Wacheni kuhudumia wahubiri. That means you have a short dress and you want to go there ukaikule mbele, na hata ujebeba scarf, ujebeba anything ya kujifunikia. Nguo inakaa refu, like our Bishop Dr. Harrison Nganga says, ukisimama unaonekana uko na nguo, lakini ukiketi nguo ina disappear. Please, that is so wrong. Kama unajua unaenda kuketi huko mbele, tafadhali wacha kwenda kuhudumia muhubiri. Cover yourself with a shawl ama scarf, whatever it is, but make sure just cover yourself. Kama ni lazima uvae nguo fupi na uende kule mbele, tafadhali wacha kwenda kuhudumia watumishi wa Mungu. Kubali uhudumiwe. Enda kanisani, kama unataka kuketi kule mbele kiti, but make sure you're decent. Cover your laps. On the same note, there are some ladies pia, they have very long dresses, but slit inafika tu huku juu. Ama it's a long dress, but portraying all kinds of curves. Na wanataka waende kwa kiti huko mbele. Time ya praise ndo hao. Watu wanasema that is so wrong na ileti picha poa. That is seduction of the highest degree. Kumbuka, mimi nasoma comments za watu na sentiments za watu, the ones that followed last week's show of seduction and sympathy. So they said they want to relate seduction and sympathy in as far as today's church is concerned, based on zile vitu zina happen in our churches. The other one, it has got to do with ladies who seek counseling from men of God. Now, there are some particular ladies, they use that opportunity to seduce men of God. As a lady, sana sana hii ina apply to the married. Yes, seduction is real. It's happening even with the married folks. A lady walks in, anakuta a man of God, na ako peke yake, hata ako na wife yake, ako peke yake. The man of God is alone. And you as a lady, unaenda kuambia mchungaji wako venye you have been denied of your marital rights or conjugal rights for more than 6 months kwenda juu. Sasa nataka nikuulize, the moment umeambia a man of God hizo mambo, Na you never know, hata mwenye unaambia maybe amenyimwa for 1 month or so, for like a year or so. What do you think will happen? So that is seduction of the highest degree. So ladies, kuna semekana approach the men of God, tafadhali pimeni kenye mnaenda kuwaambia. Weigh your words. Msiwaingize kwa majaribu. And if it's vitu zingine kama hizo, try to share them. Kama huna motive, share them when the woman of God, that is the wife to the pastor or the bishop or the reverend, is there. Lakini si kuingia kule kwa ofisi with the intention ya kwenda kumweka mawazo ingine ama kumwangusha, kumwambia venye unanyimwa, venye unafilo uko lonely, venye unafilo sijui nini. Those things are wrong. If you're doing them with bad intentions, tafadhali stop it. If you're doing them with a clean intention, tafadhali look for the right people. Wacha kwenda to the man of God kumwambia kiwa peke yake. Make sure ako na wife yake, ama you share with somebody who is trusted in the nini ya church, officials wa church. Lakini si kwenda kwa huyo bishop ama reverend ama the man of God with the intentions ya kuwa seduce ama una seek sympathy kutoka kwao, and at the end of the day unawaingiza into sexual error, sexual sin or sexual immorality. They are saying it is so wrong because it has happened. Another thing, walikuwa nasema ladies that have a tendency, wanaingia church wakiwa na agenda moja, kwenda kuchanganya the man of God. So what they do, they make sure wameingia kwa church na wamekiti pale mbele, and they are very decent. So they are even very keen. Wanaandika notes, muhubiri akisema something, they are busy with their notebooks and all that, but they wait for an opportunity yenye wata establish eye contact na the man of God, and they start giving him the suggestive looks. They start behaving funny. Remember we said seduction ina apply kwa words na actions. So the way they act in a way to seduce the man of God akiwa kwa pulpit mpaka wanamchanganya. Wakiona wamepimana macho kwa macho na the man of God, they cross their legs. They put one leg on top of the other. And they make sure they look at the pastor or the bishop or the reverend who is at the pulpit straight in the eye. Anagoja opportunity ingine, they bite their lips. Wanagoja opportunity ingine, they bite their biro pen. And then they don't stop there. Ikisha maliza all that, they wait for an altar call. Wanatokelezea. And they finish what they want to finish at the altar. Wanaanza kupea the man of God vitu zenye nimesema, as in wana seek sympathy from the man of God, wana seek attention from the man of God. And if the man of God is not keen, and if the man of God is not spiritually alert, the next thing, they fall into sexual error, sexual immorality and sexual sin. Because these ladies wanaendanga wakiwa na lengo. From there they'll book an appointment, and from there they will accomplish their mission. They will enter that man of God into sexual immorality. And we have heard of so many episodes like those, that a lady ana walk into the office ya a man of God, ana claim, oh, I was raped, ana claim nini, na ni yeye alienda akaseduce a man of God. Some go to an extent of removing their clothes. It is that bad. It is that bad. So if you are a lady out there na unaendanga church with the intentions ya kuangusha mtumishi wa Mungu, tafadhali, that is so wrong. Another one, they are this group of ladies who make sure they are dressing. Actually, one of the ways in which most ladies capture the men of God is by their dress code. So what they do, wata make sure wamevaa nguo vizuri na nini, but nguo yenye wamevaa wana expose cleavage. And so, if they are not pretending to drop their Bible and pick it as the man of God is looking, they will make sure they go for an altar call, so that when the man of God is praying for them, they make sure that the man of God will be feeding on their cleavage. And that is so wrong. That is so wrong. So ladies, muache issue ya kuangusha wahubiri na dress code zenyu na sympathy na words za kwenda kusik na mambo ya kwenda kusik sympathy na mambo ya kuwa seduce with your actions and your moves. The other one is this one has gone out to another level. Now, seduction, by the time somebody enters into sexual immorality or sexual sin, they have walked a journey. Sexual immorality doesn't fall on somebody just like that. You don't stumble into sexual sin. You don't stumble into sexual immorality. It is something that starts. For example, as a man of God, if a woman comes to you and makes suggestions, and then you fall into it, you've already opened a door. You've shown this lady that there is an opening somewhere. You have given this lady an opening ya kuweza kukuingia. And the next thing, you will switch contacts. Once now you switch contacts, this lady has now a direct access. And this is how it happens now. Dirty calls, dirty messages. And when it comes to that level, you have already, actually, these are the initial stages of sexual sin and sexual immorality. The moment you find yourself texting the man of God, dirty text messages, that you can pick your call and do dirty talk with a man of God, that is the beginning of sexual immorality. That is the beginning of sexual sin. If you can pick your phone and do dirty texts to a man of God, you have that thing of texting you man of God. They have that thing of texting you back. That is actually the initial stages of sexual immorality and sexual sin. Because this is how it starts. Dirty talk on phone. Sex does not, actually sex starts on phone. The text messages, the phone calls. So what usually happens after that is now the meeting. After you have talked, after you have texted each other, now you take it on a higher level of meeting. Now this is where now the sword is cutting across to the men of God. So that section ilikuwa inaangazia the ladies. Ladies, please stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Be decent. Let us walk holy. Let us do the will of God. Because the moment you walk into a church to seduce a man of God, to make them fall into sin, you're actually partnering with the devil. And your reward is awaiting you. Now that sword imefolia the church members. And like I said, the sword is cutting across both ways today. Now we are looking at the men of God. And when it comes to the men of God, this is an area that I love avoiding. Simply because, like I said, I'm just a child. But being the person that I am, siwezi kuwa biased. Venye nimesoma comments na sentiments za members, it is the same way I'm going to read about the men of God. Sentiments as they have come. This is not my opinion. These are not my sentiments. It is the sentiments from the people who have been watching the show, and especially last week's show of Seduction and Sympathy. And they say that I should highlight these things that happen in our churches today. And so I decided I'm not going to close my eyes onto this, because these are the same things I've been talking about. So it would look so funny or ironical for me not to point out these issues so that they can be straightened. Now, there are those men of God, definitely not all of them. There's a particular lot that wakishasimama kwa pulpit, their work is just to make their eyes roam about, wakiangalia the greener pastures, wakiangalia the fat sheep, the fat sheep, wale watakuliwa, wale wako vulnerable. So you find that there are some men of God, a church member goes to them with a particular issue, a very genuine church member approaching a man of God who unfortunately is a man of God, is a wolf are waiting to devour a sheep. So an innocent and genuine church member approaches a certain man of God who is waiting for a sheep to devour. So the church members goes and pours out their hearts, their problems, and all that. And so the man of God gets an opportunity to exploit them, gets an opportunity to get their number, gets an opportunity to book an appointment with them and invite them in their office. And unfortunately, because the church member is naive and regards this person as a man of God who is holy, they surrender to them, and the next thing they know, they are sexually exploited. They are entered into sexual sin. If I'm talking to men of God who fall in that category, the judgment of the Lord awaits you, because he who gave you custody of the sheep will ask you or will judge you for misleading them. There are also there's also that lot that looks for some particular ladies to pray for after church. So a particular man of God is casting an eye on a particular lady or particular ladies, and they call them, claiming they have their prophecy, or they want to pray for them. And so they tally at the altar. When they call them at the altar, they tend to pray for them very long prayers, holding their hands very tight, placing their hands on their head, and they don't want to move away from there. Some go to an extent of giving them an appointment so that they can give them their prophetic word. And like we have said, the end result is the same. They lure them into sexual sin and sexual immorality, and they make them feel that it is okay. I've heard of stories being told, there's a certain man of God, alikuwa ana convince mshirika that there's nothing wrong with them having sex. Ati because wao wameokoka, sasa the man of God is a man of God, na yeye ni a straight Christian, anajua Mungu ameokoka vizuri, juu sasa wako kwa Ukristo, ati if they have sex together there's nothing wrong. Ati sahani mbili safi haziezi chafuana. Imagine a man of God convincing a church member that there's nothing wrong with us having sex because we are holy vessels. Holy vessels cannot dirtify each other. Imagine, what's that? This is what you are calling misleading the sheep. And your judgment inapatikana kwa Bible. Whoever is going to mislead these little ones, the judgment ipo. So this is for the men of God who are doing that. Judgment yao ipo. Like I said, I am just a child. I don't have the moral authority to talk about these things, but I have to, because these are comments and sentiments. So I'm airing them as they are. I think it is wrong for any man of God to mislead a church member into sexual sin and convince them that it is right, and convince them that it is okay. And one thing, now this is me talking, avoid, as a lady, avoid being very close to your pastor. The only difference, or your bishop or your reverend, the only difference between the men of God and other men is that they've been consecrated, they've been anointed, set apart, they have the oil. But as long as they are not eunuchs, they have the same sexual feelings. Keep your distance. Mind the words that you're using on them. Stop jokes. Stop joking around with them on phone. When you call each other, stop joking. Stop joking via text messages. Stop sending them WhatsApp texts. It is wrong. Those are going to enter you into sexual sin. They're going to enter you into sexual immorality. Draw your boundaries. Keep in mind that they are anointed, but they are just like men. You will find yourself into sexual sin when it's too late. Just avoid. Keep your boundaries in the mighty name of Jesus. There are some actually men of God, like I stated, they call ladies into the office and they start seducing them with words, telling them how fine they are, telling them how they wish they could replace their wives. These things are real, by the way. They're actually men of God who make other women feel superior than their wives. Wanadunisha wake zao with the aim of of wanting to capture with these women so that they can be having affairs with them, so that they can be having sexual encounters with them. They make them have an air of importance that is not so good, so that they can use them for their sexual escapades. It is so wrong. It is so wrong. Another issue that was pointed out is some men of God use their tinted cars to give girls and women rides, and others go to some extent of having sexual encounters with these women in their cars. I don't want to repeat of episodes that have been exposed. I don't want to talk of stories that have been witnessed of the same. But what I'm trying to say is there's a particular lot that has this habit of riding women in their tinted cars, going for long rides, going for trips, going wherever with their lovers, with their girlfriends, who they exploit sexually. They eat, wipe their mouth, and pretend they have done nothing when they go home to their wives. And on Sundays, they introduce their wives. So they're actually playing PR with their wives. When they go to big meetings, they introduce their wives as a method of PR. And even still, worse still, in the presence of the women they have sexual encounters with, or the girlfriends whom they have encounters with. This is hypocrisy of the highest degree. That is all we had for today. Remember, I said those were not my sentiments. Those are the sentiments and comments from last week's show of Seduction and Sympathy. Join me, Wamoyo Favor the Captain, on Wednesday as we look at the fourth way in which sexual immorality captures its victims into its mouth. You can follow us on Facebook at Kingly Favor Studio Reloaded, Instagram at Kingly Favor Studio Reloaded, TikTok at Kingly Favor Studio Reloaded, and most definitely on YouTube at Kingly Favor Studio. Remember, it is what it is. So long. God bless you.